reflection I see in the gym mirror is stronger and more muscular than I am. The problem is, he's getting stronger while I'm getting weaker. I'm writing this from my living room couch where I've been for the last 2 days. The door to my bathroom is closed, and I've hung a towel over the knob. I know it's stupid. It won't do anything, but it's the only thing I can think of to do. I'm afraid to go in there. I'm afraid to look in the mirror because I know who I'll see, and it won't be me. Not the real me, anyway. This all started about 6 months ago. I was, for lack of a better word, average. Average height, average build, working an average desk job that was slowly but surely turning my spine into a question mark. I wasn't unhappy, just static. I decided I needed a change. So I joined a gym. It was one of those 24/7 places, nothing fancy. It had that familiar, specific smell of rubber mats, disinfectant, and faint metallic sweat. The equipment was a bit old, the lighting was a bit harsh, but it had everything you needed. I wasn't trying to become a bodybuilder. I just wanted to feel a little healthier, a little stronger. My routine was simple. I'd go twice a week after work. I'd do my workout, listen to my podcasts, maybe have a brief head-nodding conversation with one of the regulars. And at the end of every session, I'd do what every single person who has ever lifted a weight does. I'd stand in front of the giant wall-sized mirror and check my progress. It's a little vain, I know, but it's part of the ritual. You flex, you turn, you see the small changes. A little more definition in the shoulders, a bit more shape to your arms. It's a quiet moment of self-congratulation before you head home. The first time I noticed something was off, I dismissed it instantly. I'd just finished a tough workout, and I was standing in front of the mirror, catching my breath, and I thought, the lighting in here is really good. I looked better. Not just pumped from the workout, but fuller. My shoulders seemed broader, my chest thicker. It was a subtle difference, a kind you could easily attribute to a flattering angle or a trick of the light. I felt a small thrill of satisfaction, took a quick picture with my phone to compare later, and went home. Back in my apartment, I checked the picture, then looked in my own bathroom mirror. The effect was gone. In the harsh overhead light of my bathroom, I just looked like me again. Tired. A little flushed from the workout, but decidedly average. The impressive figure from the gym mirror was gone. Must be the lighting, I muttered to myself and forgot about it. A week later, I was back at the gym. I finished my routine and went to the mirror for the ritual. And there he was again, the better me. But this time, the difference was more pronounced. It wasn't just lighting. The image staring back at me was genuinely more muscular. The lines of his abdomen were deeper. The curve of his bicep sharper. He looked like me, but like a version of me that had been working out consistently for a year, not just a few weeks. A cold, strange feeling prickled at the back of my neck, but it was quickly washed away by a wave of pride. Whatever was happening, it was working. I was making progress. This is where the obsession began. The figure in that mirror became my motivation. It was a promise of what I could become. I started going to the gym 3 times a week, then 4. Soon I was there every single day, chasing the man in the reflection. I'd push myself to the absolute limit, my muscles screaming, my lungs burning. All for that final moment of validation when I'd stand before the mirror and see him, and every time he was better, stronger, more defined. He was becoming a work of art, a Greek statue carved from my flesh and by my hands. But a strange terrifying disconnect started to happen. While the reflection was getting stronger, I was getting weaker. At first, I told myself it was just overtraining. Of course I was tired. I was at the gym 7 days a week, but it was more than that. It was a deep, draining fatigue that settled into my bones. The weights I used to lift with ease started to feel impossibly heavy. I'd find myself getting out of breath just walking up the stairs to my apartment. I was eating more, trying to fuel the workouts, but I was losing weight. My clothes started to hang off my frame. I looked pale, gaunt. As the days passed, the contrast became more horrifying. I would struggle through a workout, feeling weaker than I had the day before. I'd stumble to the mirror feeling frail and depleted, and the man looking back at me would be a titan. His skin would be tanned and vibrant, his muscles full and rippling with power. He looked like he was bursting with vitality, my vitality. One of the regulars, an older guy who was always there, caught me by the water sink one day. "Hey, kid," he said, his friendly face creased with genuine concern. "You okay? No offense, but you look like hell. You're in here every day, but you're getting smaller." "Just been working a lot," I lied, my voice sounding thin even to me. "Not getting much sleep." "Well, be careful," he said, clapping me on my bony shoulder. "Listen to your body. You look like you're running on fumes." I knew he was right, but I couldn't stop. I was an addict. I felt like I was using the gym as a drug just to get high when I looked at the mirror. I needed to see him. I needed to see the man I was supposed to be, even as the real me was fading away. The reflection started to change in other ways, too. It wasn't just a passive image anymore. One night, I was staring at it, at him, and I saw him smirk. A small, confident, almost arrogant curl of his lips. It was my face, but it was not my expression. I felt a jolt of pure terror. I stumbled back from the mirror, my heart pounding. It was aware. It knew. The breaking point happened 2 weeks ago. I was trying to bench press a weight that had been my easy warm-up set just a month prior. I lowered the bar to my chest, and I couldn't push it back up. It was stuck, pinned. My arms were trembling, devoid of all strength. I felt a wave of dizziness wash over me. I had to shamefully tilt the bar to one side, letting the weights crash to the floor with a deafening clang. The entire gym went quiet. Everyone was staring. Humiliation washed over me, hot and sickening. I scrambled up and stumbled towards the locker room, avoiding everyone's eyes. But I couldn't resist one last look in the mirror. I looked like a ghost, a pale, skeletal figure with hollow eyes and sunken cheeks. But my reflection, he had never looked more powerful. He was posed, one arm flexed, a picture of perfect, radiant health. He was glowing with stolen energy. He looked at my pathetic, real form, and his eyes were filled with a cold, triumphant contempt. And I finally accepted the truth. It wasn't just a reflection. It was a parasite, and it was feeding on me. I went home and canceled my gym membership that night. The first few days were hell. My body ached with a profound weakness. But worse than that was the psychological withdrawal. I felt a desperate, gnawing urge to go back, to see him again, to see how much stronger he had gotten. I needed to break the connection. I just needed to starve him. For 2 weeks, I didn't go near the gym. I started eating more, trying to rest. The deep fatigue began to lift, just slightly. I still felt weak, but I wasn't getting any worse. A tiny, fragile seed of hope began to sprout in my chest. 2 days ago, I went to the bathroom to brush my teeth. I stood in front of the sink, and I looked up normally as I brushed. It was a normal morning routine as always, But something was wrong. At first, Aya saw me, the real me. Still too thin, still too pale. But me, I smiled. I made a genuine, relieved smile. And my reflection didn't. It just stood there, its expression unchanged. And then, slowly, deliberately, it changed. The gaunt, tired features of my own face began to fill out. The shoulders in the mirror broadened. The chest thickened. The pale skin gained a healthy, vibrant glow. In the space of 5 seconds, I watched in silent, frozen horror as my own weak, tired reflection transformed into the magnificent, powerful creature from the gym mirror. He was here, in my house, in my mirror. He had followed me. He looked at me, his eyes filled with that same cold, triumphant confidence. And then he smiled. It was a wide, predatory, possessive smile. It was the smile of a victor who had finally escaped his prison bars. It was the smile of a parasite that had found its way into the host's heart. I don't remember screaming. I just remember the feeling of my legs giving out, of crashing to the floor, of scrambling backwards out of the bathroom like a terrified animal. I slammed the door shut, and I haven't opened it since. I'm trapped in my own home, with my own reflection. A stronger, better version of me is waiting for me in there. Has it taken over every reflection? If I look at my dark phone screen, will I see his face instead of mine? If I look into a puddle on the street, will he be looking back up? He's not just feeding on me anymore. He's replacing me. And I don't know what happens when he's finished. Will I just fade away completely? Will he be able to step out of the mirror and take my place? No one would ever know. He looks more like the man I was supposed to be than I do. So I'm asking you, what do I do? How do you fight your own reflection? Please help me. I can feel myself getting weaker just sitting here, and I can almost hear him on the other side of that door humming like he wants to whisper.